They say every empire is built on sacrifice, but whose sacrifice? That's the real question. Nathan Cross never thought the ghosts of Texas would come for him, not after all these years. But the truth doesn't burn away. It waits deep underground until someone dares to dig it up. It began with a rush order, a billion-dollar deal, and one man's ego. Nathan Cross, the man Forbes called the future of American energy. To the world, he was flawless. To his employees, he was relentless. To his family, he was distant. But that night in Texas, all three worlds collided. The facility was supposed to be a triumph, a clean energy prototype combining tech innovation with oil efficiency. Investors were flying in the next morning. And yet, every warning light on the system screamed, "Stop." The safety officer begged him to delay the launch. But Nathan couldn't risk the deal falling apart. "Run it," he said. 2 words that changed everything. Elena Cross, his wife, had arrived unexpectedly that evening with the kids, an unplanned visit to surprise their father. She brought them sandwiches, laughter, and light. She believed in him, even when he stopped believing in himself. But destiny doesn't care about belief. It only cares about timing. At 8:47 p.m., the first valve burst. The explosion tore through steel, air, and flesh in one unholy instant. Fire swallowed the night sky. The roar was biblical, like the earth itself howling. Nathan was thrown to the ground, half-conscious, choking on smoke as alarms shrieked around him. He screamed for Elena. No one answered. By morning, the media called it an unavoidable accident. The government sent condolences. And Nathan, stoic, unflinching in public, stood before cameras saying all the right things. But behind closed doors, investigators whispered. Safety memos were missing. Internal emails had vanished. Someone had buried the truth. The real death wasn't just Elena's. It was the death of a father. Nathan signed documents, paid settlements, and disappeared from his children's lives. He told himself it was protection, that the media circus, the lawsuits, the shame, would destroy them. Maybe that was true. But deep down he knew it was cowardice disguised as love. The children were sent away, to relatives they barely knew. The eldest, Luke, vowed never to speak his father's name again. The middle child, Adam, turned quiet, invisible. And little Clara, she grew up on stories of what her mother once believed, that their father was a good man. A lie she needed to survive. Years passed. Nathan rebuilt his empire overseas, cold cities, colder boardrooms. Yet every success felt like ashes in his mouth. He sent money through anonymous trusts, watched from the shadows as his children grew. Guilt was the only inheritance he couldn't hide. But destiny, again, doesn't care about distance. Because one day Clara Cross, the little girl who lost everything, would uncover the secret that could destroy the man who left her behind. The past was no longer buried. It was coming for him. The question now is, when the truth finally explodes again, will Nathan choose redemption or ruin? Every secret leaves fingerprints. Sometimes on paper. Sometimes on the soul. Clara Cross didn't know which kind she was about to find, but she could feel the weight of it pressing against her chest as she opened the file labeled State of Texas versus Cross Energy Corporation. The Texas heat didn't care that it was midnight. It pressed against the windows like a living thing, wrapping Clara in the same suffocating warmth she remembered from her childhood. The hum of the air conditioner was the only sound, until she read the first line of the report. Unauthorized override of safety protocol, signed by N. Cross. For years, she'd told herself he left because he couldn't bear the memories. Because grief had swallowed him whole. But this was betrayal in black ink. Her father hadn't just failed them, he'd caused it. Still, something about the documents didn't feel right. Too clean. Too edited. Too convenient. She called Luke first. He didn't answer. Then Adam. Same result. The brothers had long given up chasing the past. Luke too angry to forgive, Adam too afraid to remember. Clara, though, wasn't built that way. She wasn't searching for closure. She was searching for truth. And she was willing to burn the whole house down to get it. By dawn, she was on a bus heading south. Destination, Galveston County Archives. The last known storage site for sealed court records related to the explosion. No press credentials, no permissions. Just a borrowed ID and a lie about being a law student. Sometimes justice doesn't wait for an invitation. Meanwhile, half a world away, Nathan Cross was awake before dawn too, though his mornings were quieter. A penthouse in Toronto. Espresso steaming beside untouched reports. Every day began the same. a routine designed to drown the noise. But guilt, it turns out, doesn't drown, it echoes. A single encrypted email blinked on his laptop. The cross file has been reopened. He froze. 10 words that could undo everything. He'd paid fortunes to keep that file buried. The only question was, who was digging it up? He didn't know yet that the answer had his own last name. Back in Texas, Clara stepped into the archives, rows of metal cabinets, the air stale with dust and secrets. The clerk barely looked up when she flashed her fake ID. But when she mentioned the Cross Energy case, his eyes flickered with recognition. "That file's sealed," he said. She smiled softly. "Then it's a good thing I brought a key." She found it, box 47C. Inside were court transcripts, photographs, and one burnt corner of a maintenance log. It smelled faintly of smoke even after all these years. As she flipped through the pages, a photo slipped out. Her father, standing at the site the day before the explosion, shaking hands with a senator. Smiling. Her pulse quickened. This wasn't just negligence, it was corruption. Government oversight had been paid off, safety violations erased. Nathan Cross hadn't simply made a mistake. He'd made a deal. And someone powerful helped him cover it up. As she took a photo of the file, she whispered, almost to herself, "You don't get to hide forever, Nathan." Her voice trembled not with fear, but with resolve. For the first time in years, she used his name out loud. It tasted like fire. Miles away, Nathan's phone buzzed again, his private security line. "Sir, there's movement in Texas. Someone's reopened the investigation." Nathan looked out at the city lights below, his reflection fractured across the glass. For the first time in 2 decades, he felt something colder than fear. It was fate. Guilt doesn't age, it calcifies. It grows roots in the places you hide. And for Nathan Cross, guilt had become the quietest part of his success. The world saw a billionaire visionary. But behind the marble and glass, he was still the man who watched his life burn to ash in Texas. He'd built a fortress out of business deals, technology patents, and offshore accounts. Every brick laid to protect himself from the ghosts that haunted him. But tonight, one email had undone all of it. The Cross file has been reopened. The past was moving again, and Nathan knew exactly what that meant. Someone had found the truth. His head of security, Marcus Hall, a former federal agent with the loyalty of a soldier and the conscience of a mirror, walked in. "We traced the inquiry," he said. "A journalist in Texas. Clara Cross." Nathan froze. He didn't hear the rest. Just the sound of his daughter's name, like a wound reopening after 20 years. Meanwhile, in Texas, Clara was still in the archives, running on caffeine and anger. Every new document she uncovered pointed to the same conclusion. Someone powerful had forced her father's company to keep silent. But who? And why? The name that kept appearing was Senator Douglas Kearney, a man her father once called a friend. Clara's hands trembled, not from fear but fury. The senator was still active, still powerful. If he was involved, exposing the truth could cost her career, or her life. But if she didn't, her family's story would stay buried beneath the same lies that destroyed them. She made her choice. "I'm going public," she whispered. Nathan's phone rang again. This time it wasn't his security chief. It was his lawyer. "You need to contain this," the voice said. "If she publishes, everything collapses, your contracts, your holdings, your name." But Nathan barely heard him. He was staring at a single photo on his desk, Elena and the kids at the old Texas house. He whispered, "Maybe it's time it all collapsed." That night, for the first time in decades, Nathan opened the folder labeled Elena. It contained her letters, unread, unopened since her death. Her handwriting was elegant, soft. One line stopped him cold. "Nathan, if you keep chasing empires, you'll forget the one thing worth keeping, us." He closed his eyes and saw fire again. Across the border, Clara was digging deeper. She tracked a trail of shell companies and political donations, linking her father's corporation to Kearney's campaign fund. The story wasn't about one explosion anymore. It was about a system built to protect billionaires while burying the bodies left behind. She leaned back, exhaling sharply. "So this is what it costs to stay rich," she muttered. Her reflection stared back from the dark monitor, angry, tired, and alone. The little girl who lost her mother was gone. What remained was a woman willing to break the world for the truth. Nathan, meanwhile, did something unthinkable. He booked a flight. Destination: Austin, Texas. For the first time in 20 years, he was going home. Not as a billionaire. Not as the man who rebuilt an empire. But as a father with nothing left to hide. Marcus warned him it was a mistake. Nathan said. It already was. As the plane lifted off, Nathan looked out at the clouds below. Every mile brought him closer to the past, and to the one person who deserved answers. He didn't know how she'd react when she saw him again. Maybe she'd scream. Maybe she'd walk away. But he knew one thing for sure. She had every right to do both. They say time heals everything, but time never met Texas. For Nathan Cross, the heat, the dust, the smell of oil, it all hit him like a ghost refusing to rest. 20 years gone, yet the air still carried his name like a curse. This wasn't just a homecoming. It was a reckoning. The car slowed as it entered the outskirts of Austin. Old streets lined with diners, weathered gas stations, and the ghosts of his empire. Cross energy signs had long been taken down, replaced by smaller, independent names. But the people remembered. Some turned their heads as he passed, whispering. He felt every stare. He stopped at the cemetery first. The last place he'd seen Elena. The gravestone was simple. White marble, a single engraving, Elena Marie Cross. Loved. Lost. Remembered. Nathan knelt, resting a trembling hand on the stone. I told myself I left to protect them, he said softly. But I think I left to protect myself. Meanwhile, Clara sat in a crowded newsroom downtown, staring at the headline draft. Texas explosion. The billionaire who walked away. Her editor, an old friend named Sam, leaned over. You sure about this? He asked. She nodded. This isn't just a story. It's my life. She hit save. As fate would have it, Nathan walked into town that same afternoon. He wasn't recognized immediately. Not in his plain clothes, not without the arrogance that once clung to him like a scent. But when he stepped into the local cafe to escape the heat, he froze. Because sitting by the window, typing furiously, was Clara Cross. He almost turned back. He could have left right then, slipped back into the shadows, sent another anonymous wire, kept the lie alive. But something stronger pulled him forward. Maybe guilt. Maybe love. Maybe both. Clara, he whispered. She looked up, and time stopped. For a heartbeat, she didn't recognize him. Then the years fell away. Her face hardened. You have some nerve, she said quietly, her voice trembling. The cafe fell silent. Nathan approached, hesitant. I came to tell you the truth. Clara shut her laptop. You mean the truth you buried with Mom? He didn't argue. He didn't defend. He just said, you're right. And somehow, that disarmed her more than any excuse could. The explosion wasn't an accident, he admitted. I pushed the launch. I ignored the warnings. But the cover-up, his voice broke. That wasn't just me. Clara's eyes narrowed. You're saying you were forced? Nathan nodded slowly. By people who had more to lose than I did. Senator Kearney. His partners. They buried everything. When I tried to come forward, they threatened you, Luke, Adam. That's why I left. His words hung heavy in the air, almost too heavy to believe. She wanted to scream, to throw the coffee in his face. But instead, she whispered, you still left. Nathan nodded. I did. His eyes glistened. And I've regretted it every day since. For the first time, Clara saw not the billionaire, but the broken man beneath. And that terrified her more than his power ever did. Then her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Stop digging into Kearney, or your father won't be the only Cross to disappear. Her stomach dropped. She looked up, meeting Nathan's eyes. They know, she whispered. His expression turned to stone. Then it's already begun. Nathan stood slowly. Pack your things. You're coming with me. Clara glared. You don't get to order me around. I'm not asking, he said, voice sharp but protective. They're coming for you, Clara. And this time they won't stop with threats. For the first time in years, father and daughter were on the same side, and neither trusted it. Fear moves fast, but power moves faster. By the time Clara and Nathan left the cafe, 2 unmarked SUVs had already started following them. In Texas, silence doesn't last long, especially when money's involved. The hunters were awake now, and they wanted the story buried for good. Nathan's driver gunned the engine as they hit the highway. Clara glanced behind them, 2 sets of headlights closing in. Who are they? She demanded. Nathan's tone was calm but cold. The kind of men who never ask questions. Kearney's people. Clara felt her pulse quicken. So this is what protecting us looks like. No, Nathan said. This is what running from the truth costs. They veered off the main road, dust rising behind them. Nathan's driver, Marcus Hall, navigated like a soldier in enemy territory. We've got 2 tails, he said. Local plates. Probably ex-private security. Clara's mind raced. They'd kill to protect a politician? Marcus smirked. They're not protecting him. They're protecting the money that keeps him alive. Suddenly, one SUV rammed their rear bumper. The impact threw Clara forward. Nathan grabbed her arm, steadying her. Hold on. Marcus swerved hard, sending gravel flying. The chase was on. The Texas night exploded into chaos. Headlights slicing through dust, engines roaring like beasts in the dark. When they finally lost the tail, the car skidded into an abandoned ranch outside of Bastrop. The silence was deafening. Clara stepped out, heart still racing, her shoes sinking into dry earth. You planned this? She asked. Nathan shook his head. I planned for worse. Inside the barn, old machinery rusted beside stacks of crates. Nathan and Marcus moved quickly, securing doors, checking for trackers. Clara watched, realizing this wasn't new to them. Her father had lived like this before. How long have you been preparing for this? She asked. Nathan didn't look up. Since the day I walked away. Marcus set a satellite phone on the table. We can't stay here long, he said. They'll track us by dawn. Clara crossed her arms. You mean they'll track me? Nathan looked at her, eyes full of regret. No, they'll track the story. And right now, that's both of us. For the first time, Clara saw the fear in his eyes. And it wasn't for himself. It was for her. That terrified her more than any chase. Because if Nathan Cross was afraid, something truly monstrous was behind all this. So what's the plan? She asked. Nathan exhaled. We fight back. With truth. He opened a case Marcus had been guarding. Inside were drives, files, old recordings. I kept everything, he said. Proof of who ordered the cover-up, who profited, who paid for silence. Clara's eyes widened. Then why didn't you come forward? Nathan's voice cracked. Because I knew what they'd do to you. Clara's anger broke into something else. Understanding, maybe even grief. You thought leaving us would keep us safe? Nathan nodded once. It was the only thing I could control. For a moment, the silence between them wasn't hatred, it was history. Then Marcus returned, phone in hand. Bad news, he said. They've locked down every local exit route. State troopers are on it. Clara frowned. So what now? Nathan turned toward her. Now we go dark. He smashed the phone against the ground. Sparks flickered. No more signals. No more noise. Just survival. They sat in the stillness as the night grew colder. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying the sound of distant engines. The hunters hadn't stopped, they were circling. And this time, truth wasn't the only thing at risk. Family was back on the table, but there's a saying in Texas. Blood runs deeper than oil. But for the Cross family, both were poison. As dawn broke over the abandoned ranch, Clara realized she wasn't just running from danger. She was running toward a truth that could rewrite everything she thought she knew about her family. Nathan spread the documents across a wooden table. Pages yellowed with time. Handwritten notes. Confidential memos. Clara leaned in. These are internal logs, she whispered. Why would Kearney's signature be on Cross Energy paperwork? Nathan's voice dropped. Because he wasn't just a politician, he was a silent partner. Clara's pulse quickened. So you built your empire with him? Nathan looked away. I built it for him. The words hit harder than any explosion. All those years, all that ambition, it had never really been his. He'd been a pawn in someone else's game. And now, his family was paying the price. Marcus cut in. We've got movement on the perimeter. He raised his rifle, scanning the horizon. Dust clouds were forming again. They found us. Clara turned to Nathan. Then we run. Nathan shook his head. Not this time. His voice was steel. They've been chasing ghosts for 20 years. Let them find me instead. Clara stepped closer. You're not doing this alone. He met her eyes, the same fire he saw in Elena's once burning in them now. You already are me, he said softly. And that's what scares them. The words sank deep, half compliment, half curse. She didn't know whether to cry or scream. Outside, the roar of engines grew louder. 3 SUVs crested the ridge, men stepping out in tactical gear. Marcus steadied his rifle. They're not local. Nathan's jaw tightened. They're Kearney's private security. Clara's breath caught. They'll kill you to protect him. Nathan replied. Then we'll make sure it's on record. Marcus threw Clara a small recording device. This is live-feed encryption, he said. Whatever happens, the world's going to hear it. She held it tightly, her hands trembling. You planned for this? Nathan smirked faintly. No. I planned for survival. This, he gestured to her, is fate. The first shot rang out, splintering wood, sending Clara ducking behind a crate. Marcus returned fire. Nathan grabbed the drives from the table and shoved them into a backpack. If I don't make it, he said, get this to the press. Clara shouted over the noise. You're coming with me. Nathan's answer was quiet, almost lost in the chaos. I already left once. I won't do it again. The gunfire slowed. Voices shouted commands outside. Marcus reloaded. We've got 2 minutes before they breach. Nathan turned to Clara. There's something else you need to know. Her chest tightened. What now? He hesitated, eyes full of guilt. You weren't supposed to be there that night. Elena was leaving me. She came to tell me it was over. The words shattered everything. You're lying, she whispered. I wish I were. His voice cracked. She wanted to protect you from me. But I was too blinded by pride to see what I'd already lost. Tears welled in Clara's eyes. Not from grief, but from the unbearable truth that her mother's death wasn't just an accident. It was a goodbye. The front door burst open. Marcus fired once more before shouting, Go! I'll hold them. Nathan grabbed Clara's arm. This way. They ran out the back, sprinting across open fields as bullets cracked behind them. The bag of evidence slammed against Nathan's shoulder, his last chance at redemption, thudding with every step. When they finally reached the tree line, Clara collapsed, gasping. Marcus, she panted. Nathan looked back toward the smoke. He knew what he signed up for. She stared at her father. So do I, she said. We're finishing this. Together. For the first time, Nathan didn't argue. Every secret has a price. But Senator Douglas Kearney's secret, well, that one was bought in blood. As the smoke from the ranch curled into the morning sky, the man who orchestrated it all sat in a marble office in Washington, sipping coffee, pretending not to feel the ghosts breathing down his neck. He adjusted his cufflinks, gold, engraved with the Cross Energy logo, a gift from Nathan long ago. He thought of the man once called his partner in progress. A useful fool. A scapegoat who stayed silent. Until now. His aide entered nervously. Sir, we have a problem. The Cross girl, she's still alive. She's digging. Kearney smiled thinly. Then dig a hole deep enough for both of them. Meanwhile, far from D.C., Clara and Nathan huddled in a motel outside San Marcos. Exhausted, bruised, running on gas station coffee and stubborn will. Nathan laid the drives on the bedspread. This is everything, emails, contracts, recordings. It proves Kearney's company funded the cover-up. Clara nodded. Then let's end him. Nathan shook his head. Not yet. You only get one shot at a man like that. Miss, and he'll erase you. Clara stared at her father, noticing the tremor in his hands. You're scared, she said. He didn't deny it. I've been scared for 20 years, Clara. But this is different. They don't just destroy reputations. They destroy legacies. She met his eyes. Then let's destroy theirs first. Nathan took a deep breath. We need someone inside. Someone who knows Kearney's system. Clara frowned. Who? Nathan hesitated. Adam. Clara froze. Adam. You haven't spoken to him in years. Nathan nodded. He works in cyber intelligence now, under a federal contract. He's the only one who can decrypt these files safely. For the first time, Clara saw something new in her father. Hope. She dialed. It rang once, twice. Then a voice she hadn't heard in years. Clara? Hey, little brother. A pause. Then cold silence. What do you want? She swallowed. The truth. Another pause. Then quietly. So it's finally come for us. Within hours, Adam was on the road. Back in D.C., Kearney's aide returned. Sir, Cross's daughter has contacts in federal systems. Kearney stood, the first flicker of panic crossing his polished face. Pull every surveillance feed, every database. If the Cross name appears again, I want it buried. Literally. But the problem with ghosts, they don't stay buried. By the time Adam reached the motel, night had fallen. He stepped in, scanning the room. You two look terrible, he muttered. Clara smiled faintly. It's a family thing. Nathan stood. Thank you for coming. Adam's eyes hardened. I didn't come for you. I came for her. He nodded at Clara. Old wounds had long memories. They got to work. Adam plugged in the drives, code spilling across his screen like falling rain. Encryption's old school, he said. Your senator used ghost servers. But he made one mistake. He trusted a system I helped design. Nathan blinked. You worked on it? Adam smirked. Let's just say Dad wasn't the only one with secrets. Then a breakthrough. Video footage flickered onto the screen. A private meeting from 20 years ago. Kearney and Nathan. Kearney's voice. Delay the report. We'll say it was an accident. I'll make sure you walk free. Nathan's voice followed. And my family? Kearney laughed coldly. Collateral damage. Clara's hand flew to her mouth. The proof was real. Adam sat back. This is it. The smoking gun. Nathan stared at the footage, tears gathering. He made me the villain so he could become the hero. Clara whispered. Then let's burn his kingdom to the ground. They uploaded the files to secure cloud servers. But none of them saw the red light blinking on the motel's smoke detector, recording everything. Hundreds of miles away, in his DC office, Kearney's phone vibrated. A video feed appeared, Clara, Nathan, and Adam in real time. The senator leaned forward, smiling. So the family's back together, he murmured. Let's see how long they last. Sometimes the trap isn't around you. It's inside the walls you think are safe. The Cross family had proof of everything, but they didn't have freedom. By the time Adam finished decrypting the last file, the motel had already become a cage. They just didn't know it yet. Adam leaned back, rubbing his eyes. That's it. Every document, every payment, every threat, uploaded. Clara exhaled, relief trembling in her voice. So it's over? Nathan stared out the window, uneasy. No, he said quietly. When a man like Kearney loses control, he doesn't surrender. He detonates. Across the state line, Kearney watched the live feed flicker. Send the cleanup crew, he ordered. Make it look like an accident. Again. His aide hesitated. Sir, there are 3 of them now. Kearney smiled. Then make it a family tragedy. Back at the motel, Clara sensed movement outside. A subtle crunch of gravel, the whisper of a door hinge. Someone's here, she breathed. Nathan killed the lights. Marcus's old training had rubbed off on him. He motioned for silence. 3 shadows moved past the window, rifles glinting in the dark. Adam whispered, I can reroute the feed, buy us a few seconds. He began typing fast, screens flashing code. Nathan grabbed Clara's hand. If we don't make it, she cut him off. Don't. We're not dying in a motel. The first gunshot shattered the glass. Sparks flew. Nathan pulled Clara behind the bed. Adam yanked the power cord free, killing the light. Bullets punched through drywall, inches from their heads. Then silence, followed by the slow, deliberate creak of a door. Nathan moved first. He lunged, tackling the lead assailant, the 2 crashing through the door into the parking lot. A second gunman raised his weapon, but Clara fired first, using Marcus's pistol Nathan had kept hidden. The man dropped. Her hands shook, but her aim didn't. Go! Nathan shouted. Adam grabbed the drives and bolted for the car. Tires screeched as they sped out of the lot, headlights cutting through fog. In the rearview mirror, the motel burned, proof reduced to smoke. But Adam still had backups in the cloud. The story wasn't dead yet. Inside the car, silence. The adrenaline drained, leaving only grief and disbelief. Clara stared out the window. I killed someone. Nathan's voice was low. You saved us. She shook her head. No. I became you. The words hit him harder than the gunfire ever could. They reached an abandoned airstrip outside Dallas before sunrise. Adam set up a transmitter on an old radio tower. I can broadcast the files to every major network. They can't stop the signal. Nathan placed a hand on his son's shoulder. Then do it. Clara stood on the runway, breathing the cold morning air. She could see it now, the endgame. Expose Kearney, destroy the empire, reclaim her mother's name. But something felt wrong. Too easy. Too quiet. She turned to Nathan. Where's Adam? Then came the explosion. A flash from the tower. The shockwave threw them to the ground. When the dust cleared, the tower was gone, along with Adam. Clara screamed his name, but the wind swallowed it whole. Nathan pulled her close, eyes hollow. He was the last good thing I had, he whispered. Kearney watched the satellite feed go dark. Collateral damage, he murmured. But what he didn't know was that Adam's final keystroke had already sent the truth skyward. An encrypted upload, set to release if he didn't log in again. The countdown had begun. They thought Adam died with the evidence. But truth, real truth, has a way of surviving fire. As dawn cracked open over Texas, the first encrypted packets left a dead man's laptop, bouncing through satellites across the world. The truth wasn't hidden anymore. It was counting down. Clara stood on her knees in the dirt, staring at the rising smoke. Her voice broke. He's gone. Nathan knelt beside her, face streaked with soot and tears. No, he said. He gave us a chance. The wind whipped through the wreckage, carrying the faint, rhythmic ping of a signal escaping into the clouds. Back in Washington, alarms started flashing in Senator Kearney's command center. Unauthorized data transfer detected, a tech shouted. Kearney stormed forward. Shut it down. The tech hesitated. It's not from their system anymore, it's global. Kearney froze. His empire, the thing he'd built on lies, was now being uploaded faster than he could erase it. Nathan drove aimlessly through the desert, hands gripping the wheel so tight his knuckles whitened. Clara stared out the window, silent. Where are we going? She finally asked. Somewhere safe, he said. But his voice wavered. They both knew there was nowhere left. Clara broke the silence. You always ran, didn't you? From us. From her. From the truth. Nathan didn't look at her. And I paid for it every day. Then stop running, she said. If Adam died to tell the world the truth, then we finish it. Publicly. Together. For the first time, Nathan didn't argue. They stopped at a diner off the interstate. A TV over the counter showed breaking news. Leaked files implicate Senator in Texas explosion. Reporters scrambled for confirmation. The world was starting to wake up. Clara whispered, "It's happening." Nathan exhaled, a haunted kind of relief spreading across his face. Adam did it. But the victory was short-lived. Outside, 2 black SUVs pulled into the parking lot. Clara caught their reflection in the diner window. They found us, she said quietly. Nathan turned, calm as stone. Then we finish this on our terms. He stood, straightened his jacket, and handed Clara the last flash drive. If I don't make it, upload this to every outlet you can. Her voice cracked. Stop saying that. He smiled faintly. Your mother used to say I was too stubborn to die. Let's see if she was right. The agents stormed in. Nathan moved first, knocking over a chair, drawing their attention, giving Clara seconds to escape through the back. She ran, clutching the drive like a heartbeat. Behind her, shouts and gunfire shattered the morning. When she turned back, Nathan was gone. Clara reached a payphone near a gas station. She dialed a number she hadn't used in years, Luke's. Clara, a voice answered. Luke, listen to me. It's about Dad. It's about everything. There was silence. Then, where are you? For the first time, her older brother's voice didn't sound angry, it sounded scared. Meanwhile, in Washington, chaos erupted. Journalists flooded Kearney's office. Senator, do you deny the recordings? Kearney's smile was brittle. Those tapes are fake. But even as he spoke, another monitor lit up, this time video evidence. His own words played back to him. Collateral damage. The room erupted. There was no denial left. Clara found a small public library on the edge of town. She slipped into a computer terminal, inserted the drive, and began the final upload. Images, documents, videos, all of it. Her father's crimes, the senator's cover-up, the lives destroyed. Her hands trembled as the bar filled to 100%. As she pressed enter, her phone buzzed, an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Static. Then a voice. Clara, it's me. Her breath caught. Dad. The line crackled. I'm okay. Keep going. Don't stop. Then silence. The call ended. By nightfall, every major outlet had the story. The name Nathan Cross trended worldwide. First as a villain, then as a man who broke his silence. Kearney's empire collapsed overnight. Arrest warrants, investigations, headlines. And somewhere, in the vast sprawl of the Texas desert, a black sedan rolled quietly into the horizon, its driver unseen. When the truth finally goes viral, the world doesn't know what to do with it. By sunrise, every headline screamed one name, Nathan Cross. Some called him a hero, others a monster. But for Clara, it wasn't about what the world believed. It was about whether she could forgive the man who started it all. The senator's mansion was surrounded by flashing lights. Kearney walked out in handcuffs, still wearing his perfect smile. Cameras screamed questions. He just said, History will remember me differently. Maybe it would, but not kindly. Behind him, the American flag flapped like a ghost over a crumbling empire. Back in Texas, Clara sat alone in the radio station where it all began, an abandoned AM broadcast booth her father once funded. On the desk lay Adam's old laptop and the last remaining drive. She pressed play. A recorded message appeared, Nathan's voice, raw and unfiltered. If you're hearing this, it means I didn't make it. But maybe I finally did something right. She froze, tears threatening to fall. Nathan's voice continued. I can't change what I did. I killed your mother by thinking I was saving us. I thought power would protect my family. But all it ever did was destroy it. His tone cracked. You deserved better than my silence. Outside, thunder rolled across the Texas plains, as if the sky itself remembered. Clara hit the transmitter switch. Nathan's confession began broadcasting live across the AM frequency. My name is Nathan Cross, his voice echoed, and this is the truth they paid me to bury. The signal spread faster than the storm. Phones buzzed, radios crackled. Online streams mirrored it in real time. Across the nation, people stopped to listen. The voice of a man who built an empire on lies, and then burned it down with his own confession. Clara watched the meters spike. You did it, Dad, she whispered. You finally told the truth. A flicker of static interrupted the broadcast. Then another voice. Clara? She froze. It wasn't a recording. Clara, if you can hear this. I'm alive. Her heart raced. Dad, don't stop the broadcast, the voice said. They'll trace me if you do. Just tell them I'm not running anymore. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she spoke into the mic. Then come home. A long pause. Then softly. I already am. Hours later, the world erupted with debate. Some said Nathan Cross was alive, others called it a hoax. But Clara didn't care about speculation. She walked out of that radio booth, head high, the storm washing away 20 years of pain. The Cross family name, once a symbol of greed, had become something else, truth. Back in D.C., Kearney sat in a prison cell, watching a flickering TV. Nathan's broadcast replayed on loop. The senator smirked bitterly. He thinks this ends with him, he muttered. But the look in his eyes said something else, fear. He knew there were more names to come. Meanwhile, in the shadows of a quiet airstrip, a figure stepped from a black sedan. Nathan Cross, alive, scarred, limping, but alive. He looked toward the distant skyline, the storm finally breaking into sunlight. He whispered, It's over, Elena. It's finally over. Clara's voice echoed over the final shot, a whisper carried on the wind. Truth doesn't die. It just waits for someone brave enough to speak it. Every story ends where it began. For the Cross family, that place was Texas, the ground that burned, the truth that buried them, and the name that refused to die. When the storm cleared, the world knew Nathan Cross as both villain and savior. But the real story still had one final twist, one final name. Weeks had passed since Nathan's voice broke the airwaves. Senator Kearney was behind bars. Cross energy collapsed overnight. Protesters flooded D.C., chanting for justice. But deep within the Department of Energy archives, a new file surfaced. One that rewrote everything Clara thought she knew about her father's empire. Inside the folder, photographs, signatures, memos. And a single contract with a name she'd never seen before, Elena Cross. Clara blinked. Her mother's signature was right there, under Project Overseer. Her throat tightened. No, she whispered. That's not possible. She played the attached audio file. A woman's voice filled the room. It was Elena. Nathan, if you're listening, they're pushing this project too fast. If we don't stop it, someone's going to get killed. But Kearney won't listen. I'm filing a report behind his back. If something happens to me, promise me you'll protect the kids. The recording ended. Silence. Clara's knees buckled. Her mother wasn't just a victim. She'd been trying to stop it. Her father hadn't ignored safety warnings, he'd ignored her. And that mistake had cost everything. She drove back to the airstrip where her father had last been seen. The wind carried the smell of oil and rain. She found him there, older, frilier, leaning against the same car, staring at the horizon. He turned as she approached. You found it, didn't you? Clara nodded. She warned you. He closed his eyes. She always did. Nathan's voice was rough. I told myself I was protecting her, but I was protecting myself. She begged me to stop that launch. I told her she didn't understand business. And because of that, I lost everything. Clara stepped closer. And now, he met her gaze. Now I understand what real power is. Telling the truth when it destroys you. Clara reached into her coat pocket and handed him the folder. Her voice should be the last one the world hears. Nathan stared at the file, then nodded. You're right. Together, they uploaded Elena's final message, the recording she made hours before the explosion. The broadcast played across every major network that night. The voice of a woman silenced by greed now spoke louder than all the men who tried to erase her. The world listened. The investigation reopened. Elena Cross was declared a whistleblower, her warnings ignored, her death ruled by corporate negligence. And for the first time, the Cross family name stood for something pure: accountability. Weeks later, Nathan visited his wife's grave for the first time in decades. The headstone was simple, elegant, just her name and the word Truthkeeper. He knelt, placing his hand on the stone. "You were right," he whispered. "And I was too late." Clara stood behind him, silent tears mixing with the rain. When he rose, Clara offered him her hand. "Come on," she said softly. "Let's go home." Nathan smiled faintly. "Home," he echoed. The word tasted new, foreign, but real. They walked away together, two survivors carrying the weight of truth, but no longer its silence. As they disappeared into the light, Clara's voice faded in over the final shot. Texas burned because of a lie. But from the ashes came something stronger, a truth that refused to die. My father taught me power. My mother taught me courage. And together, they taught me that redemption isn't about erasing the past, it's about facing it. If you followed their story, share the truth in the comment section, because sometimes the most powerful redemption story is the one we finally tell out loud.